my name is Hajar, and I'm here to introduce FireAnt Cement. So climate change is the biggest threat and the most critical problem of humanity right now, and we are the ones that caused it. If we don't do anything to cut down on greenhouse gas emissions, our children will not have a future. One of the biggest contributors to this greenhouse gas emission is actually the cement industry. The traditional cement industry is super, super dirty, and it's growing at an alarming rate. So concrete is actually the most abundant human-made material on Earth, and it's the second most consumed, second only to water. And it's super dirty. It's actually responsible for 7% of all carbon dioxide emissions in the world. And it's growing at an alarming rate. I mean, studies show that there's an equivalent of 1 New York City per month being built for the next 20 years. This is equivalent to around a $525 billion industry. So what we do at FireAnt Cement is clean it up. We've developed a process that eliminates carbon dioxide emissions from the cement making process and creates the same ordinary Portland cement at the same price with zero carbon dioxide emissions. We've done techno-economic analysis, and we were able to prove, even with conservative figures, that we're actually operating at the same price. We have competition, but a lot of it doesn't make the same material, and a lot of the market is actually focused on it being the same exact ordinary Portland cement. We have a superstar team of nerds, engineers, mostly from Stanford and Caltech, our business strategy is to enter into islands where the raw material we need to make our process is found, and where it's expensive to currently make cement. So right now we're kind of looking for advisors and people that help us along the way, because what we have is a sample, and we don't know what to do with it next.
Can you go through the technology a little bit more and help me understand why it can be at the same cost?
So right now, we've developed the process in the lab, and we're able to use a different raw material and an alternative process that's currently under wraps to make the same exact. So what we've been able to make is calcium oxide, which is the starting material for making traditional cement. So the actual process of cement making is the same, but just the way we get to that middle step, which is making calcium oxide, is different.
And there is plenty of this magic chemical around?
Yeah, there is. There is. And I didn't get to talk about it, but it's also super abundant in these mines that have already been mined out for like different materials and kind of have been left behind. So it's actually great for us to come in and offload these mines and kind of have access to the raw material for cheap.
So to follow up on Tim's question,
yes.
You know what I'm going to ask because I
already
asked
know.
it. Yeah. This could be wonderful. Yeah. You won't explain it, and you claim we have to be under NDA, which investors aren't going to do. You've got a process that is in, and as you know, I'm first degree material science, right?
Right.
Long ago. Actually worked in the cement plant once. So these reactions are old and known, and uses for tailings and slags and other materials are well known, and getting to creating calcium silicate cement, those reactions are not new. So you claim to have something, and we're all excited about it, but you won't tell us what it is. So you're going to have a real problem going forward, because it doesn't look credible without a chunk of concrete in your hand and a set of equations on the board.
Absolutely.
And if you can open that curtain a little bit, I'm with you.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're kind of looking for in these next steps. Like we said, we're a team of engineers. We're kind of just like nerdy and on the technology side. If we have guidance as to how to use the language to kind of give it or like explain it to business investors without giving out our secret sauce, that'd be amazing.
Besides, perhaps you ought to look into licensing the IP as opposed to putting a factory together. The other thing is probably I'd go on and do an estimate of the amount of stuff. Clearly you use coral, okay, for some element of this stuff. And it's which is pretty, and I don't know anything about concrete or about chemistry or this other stuff, but by the fact you go on and disclose your market as being islands, I don't really need to go on and have too much more than I know. So, as this gentleman mentioned, this is going to be a problem going forward. what I do, in fact, is probably get a good lawyer, somebody that goes on and knows.
Yeah, we
the
have
IP
a provisional
stuff.
patent. We're just, because it's provisional, we have to wait a year to start. But
You've
yeah.
got a year to get your shit together.
We got a year to
Everybody
get our
knows
shit
about it.
together. Yeah, and we're trying. We're trying. Okay. Okay.
Who let the dogs out?